What is going on, everybody? My name is Teddy Baldassarre, and in this video we're going to be talking with one of the biggest influencers in the world of men's style here on YouTube. His website has been able to accumulate thousands and thousands of visitors every month, and he has one of the fastest growing YouTube channels in the space. And that is Brock from The Modest Man. So guys, sit back, relax, be sure to give this video a like if you do enjoy it, and let's jump into the video. What's going on, everybody? My name is Teddy Baldassarre, and in today's interview, we are going to be talking to one of the most down-to-earth guys and creators on YouTube in the men's fashion and lifestyle landscape, and that is Brock from The Modest Man. So Brock, how are you today? Thank you so much for joining the interview here.
Doing well. Oh yeah, thanks for having me. And let me just say, big fan of what you're doing here on YouTube. I think it's the kind of content that the guys need and that the platform needs. And just for the record, I am 100% jealous of your watch collection.
That's kind of how we got connected. You left a comment on my video, and I'm like, it was really cool for me because I followed your content for a while. So there might be some people watching this that aren't as familiar with your content. So could you maybe just bring people up to speed? I know as a guy you're 5'6", and why you started this content channel to begin with, and really what was its main focus and how it's really spanned out from there.
Yeah, I started The Modest Man, the brand, as just a website back in, it was like late 2012, very much as like a side project, side hustle. And at the time, I was kind of getting into men's style. I don't like the word fashion, I try to be a little more, I guess, timeless than that. But I was trying to basically dress better, and I was working in a corporate job. And there was even back then, there were a lot of great blogs. And people writing about menswear and men's style advice, but I realized that I couldn't find anything, even from Art of Manliness, Effortless Gent, Real Man, Real Style, but I couldn't find anything that was really geared toward the shorter, smaller man, And I'm 5'6" in shoes, 120 pounds soaking wet, so a lot of the stuff that makes sense for guys in general. I found it kind of hard to implement because I couldn't find clothes that fit, and that's a really important aspect of style. So I kind of started writing on The Modest Man, just sort of documenting what I was learning about, where to shop and how to buy custom clothes and how to get your clothes tailored and what colors work for my build. And eventually that, it grew into a small audience. There's like 30 million adult men just in America who are under 5'9". So I kind of figured if I was dealing with this stuff, probably other people were also dealing with it. So did that for a couple of years. I was still, working regular jobs, working in marketing, and then eventually started the YouTube channel to go along with it. And I've been doing that full time for about 2 years now.
That's awesome, man. And I think the last year how much has your audience grown? I remember I've been following you for probably 2 years now, and I feel like over the last 12 months, you've more than doubled your audience. Do I have that right?
Yeah. Especially YouTube. I was kind of late to the game with video for some reason. I just really dragged my feet on it because, as you know, it's hard to produce. It takes a lot of work to produce a video, and I had the writing thing down. But yeah, I was kind of late on YouTube. But the last year, I really focused on it. I was I'm gonna produce a video every week and really give the YouTube channel, give that audience, the attention that it deserves. And yeah, it's crazy, man. I just passed 100,000 subscribers, and it's been really cool to see that grow.
Yeah. So I like how you have just the dual platform approach. So you have your website, and you're thinking about the overall model of just kind of marketing and getting your brand out there. I think a lot of YouTubers, they get really caught up in just being a YouTuber. So as a guy who really wants to branch out, really build that personal brand for himself, and there might be some other people watching this that might be intrigued about this as well. How did you approach that? Starting out just writing on a blog, and how were you really able to monetize your passion? Because I saw, and this is kind of be turning into a loaded question, so it's probably a two-parter. On your blog, you had a post about the first few months you started opening up ads on your website and your blog, and how you're able to actually get revenue in. And I thought that was really cool because there's not a lot of transparency when it comes to how people make money online. So to see how you map that out was really cool. So I guess two questions. One is, how was that approach for you when you're thinking about scaling your personal brand? How did you use video, and then also start with your blog to complement it? And then how are you going from there to monetize your passion after you got it put into place?
Yeah, great questions. I think that I guess to start with the second one, like these days, business, at least online business, has kind of flipped everything on its head. So instead of coming up with like a product or service and then finding people to sell it to, you can build an audience, find out what they want, and then make that for them. So like with our type of business, which is basically we're like a digital media company. We create content, and then there's a bunch of different ways to monetize that, to monetize your content or your traffic or your audience. And for me, it's advertising and sponsorships and affiliate programs. But that's the monetization is kind of the easy part. It's the audience building that's the hard part. So I think like if you're just starting, I mean, for me, I feel much better now having like a pretty strong audience on the website and on the YouTube channel. Because I think if you only have an audience in one place, you're kind of highly leveraged, I would say. Like if something changes on that platform, or if that platform goes away, you don't really own that audience. So I really like having a website and an email list. It's very tangible. It's yours. But I also like having different platforms. So I'd say, start with what you're good at. For me, I felt much better about writing than making videos or taking pictures of myself. So I kind of started there. And then once I had a solid foundation on the website, I moved over to YouTube. And now I'm going to focus on Instagram. So I think a lot of times people try to kind of be everywhere. And you see this a lot with like new brands. They try to have a presence on every social media platform and on their blog and on YouTube, and it's just too much. So I say kind of find what you're good at. If it's writing, if it's making videos, and just try to dominate that platform first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a smart approach because especially with a lot of things that are happening with YouTube right now and its algorithm, and I hear a lot about like suppression of content for a lot of these big creators, and I think it's good not to have all your eggs in one basket. To maybe go off of that question, so thinking about just how you were able to get into this, and I've talked to a couple other people now, and they've all kind of had similar paths where they were working maybe a desk job or a full-time job, and then were doing this as a side hustle. So what allowed you to eventually make this a full-time endeavor for yourself? What were the kind of check boxes that you needed to cross off?
Yeah, I think everybody has like a different, I guess, point, and maybe it's how risk averse you are or something. Everybody has a different point where eventually you have to kind of leave your day job or your traditional path and jump into what you're trying to build on the side. For me, I kind of had a number in mind, just like, if I can cover these expenses every month, I'll feel comfortable leaving. My transition into Modest Man full-time coincided with a move. So I moved from Washington, D.C. to Tucson, Arizona. And so, my living expenses went way down. So that kind of made the transition much easier. The funny thing is when I made that transition, I was able to focus on this full-time business, like tripled, because I was able to put out way more content. And it's not only the time, because it's one thing to work evenings and weekends. It's hard, but it's doable. But I think for me, it was more like the mental energy. It was really hard to come home from work and then make a video or write an article. It was just very draining after a while. So yeah, for me, it was just kind of, I had a number in mind. Once I hit that monthly revenue, I was, able to jump off.
So we talked about, style for the shorter gentleman today. And I know that it is absolutely neglected in the space. I don't think that they're ever given much consideration, unfortunately. So for guys out there that are on the shorter side, what are some just kind of tips and tricks? I think I saw a video that you posted recently about this, but could you share some of the things that you've kind of mastered to kind of allow you to come off with more of a bigger figure, I guess you could say?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's all about the most important thing is definitely fit, and I feel like a broken record saying that. I feel like guys, they hear that all the time, but it really is making sure your clothes fit. It doesn't really matter what kind of body you have, it's clothes that fit properly are going to enhance what you have, whether you're tall, thin, short, fat, whatever. So finding clothes that fit, I think the easiest way to do that for most guys is to find a tailor, find a local tailor near your home or your office, and just visit them like at least once a month, or when you buy something new, or if you haven't worn something in a while, take it to the tailor. I think that's almost always cheaper and easier than buying new clothes. There's a lot of good info out there on the internet. So like if you're not sure how your clothes should fit, there's plenty of articles and videos about that. So that's number one. The second thing is, especially for shorter guys who want to maximize their perceived height, I'll say, because there's nothing wrong obviously with being short. So I don't like to use the term dress taller, but at the end of the day, a lot of guys, if they had the choice, probably would want to look taller. So if you want to do that, one good way is with color. So it's not really about which colors you wear. Like if you really like blue, you can wear blue. If you like red, that's fine. It's more about the contrast. So I always tell guys to avoid really heavy contrast between like the top and bottom half. So for example, if you're wearing a white shirt and black pants, that's going to just cut you in half visually, and unless your clothes fit really well and you have like a nice build, that's probably not going to be the most flattering combination. So like a much better combination would be like a gray shirt and navy pants, because they're still different. It's not like a monochromatic jumpsuit or something, but there's a lot less contrast between the top and bottom. So it's kind of like a little visual trick. It just streamlines and actually makes you look a little taller.
So I like the comment you made about a tailor, because I think that's so crucial. Could you talk a little bit about that process in finding the right tailor for you? Because I think a lot of guys don't even know where to turn. Like, where can I even go get this done at? What was your process like? How did you find somebody that, you could really have a relationship with? It's kind of like finding a barber. I mean, you want to trust that person that's doing that for you.
Totally. It's exactly like finding a barber. It's like, it's a very kind of old school relationship, and I think it's worth finding somebody that you can trust, that has a good eye, but that also listens to you. And then you want to build that loyalty. So if you don't have a tailor, you don't know where to start, or maybe the idea is, kind of uncomfortable, I would use Google and Yelp, and as a starting point. Just find some place. I really think it's important that they're near your house or your workplace, because you're going to be, if they're near your office, you can run over there during lunch and drop something off or pick something up. So that's really important. Find somebody obviously with good reviews. I think it's good if some of the reviews that they have on Yelp, for example, are from men, not just all women, because some people will be really good at, say, like wedding dresses, but they've never altered a suit, so find somebody that's has some experience with menswear, and then test them out with something that's like very low commitment, like get a pair of trousers hemmed or a pair of jeans hemmed. One thing I like to do is take the original hem, because it's one of those little things that like a good tailor will know how to do and a bad tailor won't do. So test them out with something that's, not too risky. And then if they do a good job with that, bring them a shirt, have them take in a shirt or do something just like a little more complicated. If they nail that, then you've got yourself a tailor. And I think it's really important that, if they do a good job, like leave them a 5-star review on Google and Yelp, make sure they know about that, and really try to build that relationship. And once you do that, you'll see that they'll turn things around faster. They might even give you discounts every now and then. So it's kind of worth putting in the time.
So I asked this kind of selfishly, just for myself. When making content on YouTube, what is the content you enjoy making the most? And then what is the content that you feel your audience engages with the most?
That's a really good question, right? Because it's actually not the same thing,
It's not. That's why.
I think with YouTube, yeah. Well, I was just talking to about this. I feel like every video creator, every content creator deals with this, because there's kind of like, I see it as kind of like writing an album. Like if you're a musician, there's like the hits that you kind of have to write, and then there's the rest of the album that's for you. And so for me, like the hits are kind of the more enticing, maybe list-based content that you see a lot of the big channels doing, 10 style mistakes, stuff like that. Not that there's anything, it's good content and it's important, but it's not my favorite stuff to make, because it's not all that creative, in terms of the actual the process of producing the video. So the stuff I really love making is like lookbooks and outfit ideas that are a little more produced, more B-roll, more editing, more music, takes way longer to make it. They usually don't get nearly as many views, but that's the kind of stuff that I like to make.
Nice. I'm the same way. So another question, there's a ton of guys out there that, especially on YouTube, that there's just a lot of products being thrown in your face. I think you do it very tastefully when you have like sponsored content. So can you maybe just give a little bit of a glimpse behind the door? I'm starting to get in the early stages of, brands reaching out to me, and I've been pretty selective about like, wanting to get into that world. So how could you maybe just talk a little bit how you've been able to build up some just partnerships with brands and how that kind of process works for just the average person watching your content?
Yeah, I think that's also like a very tricky thing to navigate as you grow an audience on YouTube or anywhere. Because yeah, you do get to a point. I mean, you're seeing it now where eventually you're basically inundated with requests for promotion, and it's from agencies and PR companies and directly from brands, and it's tough, because obviously you need to make a living, and when you make more money, you can invest in your channel, you can buy better gear, you can hire editors, and you want to make money. There's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, you want to put your audience first. Obviously, you don't want to breach trust. You don't want to ever promote something you don't fully believe in, and you also just don't want to do too much of it, because I don't think people. I think people get a little turned off if every video feels like it was paid for. So for me, my kind of litmus test is if I wouldn't buy the product, or if I wouldn't recommend it to like a friend, like a close friend, and recommend that they actually buy it, then it's not something I want to promote. And so what that translates to is I'd say 29 out of 30 pitches or opportunities that I turn down, and then the ones that I take or that we work together, it's like a really really good fit. And so sometimes that's literal, like the clothes actually fit well and I feel good about them, and then sometimes it's more of like they're good people behind the brand, and I kind of believe in what they're trying to build. So I think it's just a balance. I know some channels don't do any sponsored content, some do a whole lot of it. I don't think there's necessarily like a right or wrong way. For me, I would like my dream, like eventually would be to not have to do any sponsored content and just be 100% independent. But I think that given the state of YouTube and like how you make money from it, to make money off of like Google ads, I mean, you have to have just millions of views a month. So right now, working with brands, doing paid partnerships is the most straightforward and lucrative way to make a living off of this. So, until that changes, I'm going to keep doing it.
Mm-hmm. I think that's something that a lot of people need to understand too, because I think there's a little bit of a misconception a lot of people have when they're watching YouTubers thinking like, oh, they're making so much money, just they have an audience, but like the truth of it is like it's not as lucrative as a lot of people like to think. And if you're not strategic like you've been, then you might be out of luck and not be able to scale your operation. So what are the next steps for you? Where is the Modest Man kind of going from here? I think you've grown a lot in the last year. So what are things that you're kind of eyeing and looking to accomplish now in 2018 and a little bit beyond?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to basically double down on what I'm doing, keep growing the website. It's so tempting just to focus on YouTube because people really like video content these days, and videos tend to get more views than articles. But I don't want to neglect the website. I think it's really cool to have kind of like a central hub that you own. So I want to keep putting a lot of attention to that. Maybe open it up to more contributors, so it's not just my voice on there. Keep making videos, better videos, hopefully higher production quality, more videos, and just keep growing the audience. And I do have a couple of exciting kind of brand partnerships, but can't quite talk about them yet.
Love it. So you do a lot of product reviews, and are there like brands that you've been trying lately and you've reviewed that you've really like loved? I mean, I always like asking that for people on the show. I asked that with John in my last interview, just to get out those brands, because there's a lot I have not heard of, and I know there's a lot of people in the comments too that are always just looking for new places to shop and buy.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely one of the coolest parts about I think what we're doing is getting to experience all these like brand new companies, and there's so many options these days, which is great for us men, because you don't just have to go to the mall and like go to the department store anymore. So some of the recent ones that I've tried that I'm really liking. Actually, I'm wearing them right now. There's this new sneaker. Actually, I don't know how new they are. Like a relatively new sneaker brand called Koyo. It's Koio, and they kind of make like a minimal leather sneaker, kind of like a Common Projects. And I've been wearing them like every day for like a month now. So they're really cool. Let's see who else. I recently got some new stuff from Peter Manning, which is probably the most popular brand geared specifically toward shorter guys. So like they just came out with the raincoat, which I've been wearing a lot this season. What else? Yeah, that's probably about it. I have been wearing this little Hamilton pretty much every day for like a couple of months now, but that's not really a new brand, just new to me.
I love it though. That's great. I mean, it's what's new for you. What was another thing I was going to ask? I think another thing that's important too to understand and like think about as well is how much just the men's fashion landscape is changing, what styles are in, what styles are not. So what is like your ideal style? Because street fashion is so popular. I'm more of a classic, kind of guy that's approached just like the traditional, like, I mean, I'm wearing a black t-shirt. I mean, I'd rock this way over, rocking a pair of Yeezys, like I clearly don't have Yeezys on right now. But like, what is like your style? And like, what do you think the future of, men's style looks like?
Yeah, I'm probably more on the same side of the spectrum as you are, kind of lean classic. Used to be like pretty preppy. Now I'd say a little more less preppy, maybe just more like traditional. I'm usually dressed very casually, because I don't have too many occasions to dress up and wear a suit. So I'd say kind of casual fitted. I really like the sort of like minimalist trend that I'm seeing a lot on, especially over on like Reddit, like Male Fashion Advice. I think the technical like genre is like Scandinavian minimalism, because I guess it was kind of popularized in that part of the world. But I really like that that aesthetic and that idea of like owning less clothes, but owning stuff that pretty much all works well together. It's kind of like a lean, versatile wardrobe. So for that reason, like I wear a lot of neutrals, like a lot of basics, a lot of solid colors. So I don't really know if that has like a name, but that's kind of the aesthetic I like. And I think that it's all sort of, it's like music, like all the genres are kind of blending together a little bit. So I don't think there's going to be as much of like a definition. I don't think in 10 years, like guys are going to be like, well, my style is street or my style is preppy. I think it's kind of all just blending together, and guys are kind of able to create their own unique thing, which, in my opinion is pretty cool.
So what have you learned the most starting a YouTube channel and, starting your website? Because that's also just a key driver for you.
Yeah, I would say number one, that this type of business model, like being a content creator, like a digital media brand, it's not a quick. It's kind of a slow burn. It's like a long game, So if you need money real quick, it's not the best business model. But on the flip side of that, I guess any kind of entrepreneurship, but especially this brand of it, the kind of online business. For me at least, has been the best thing I've done. I mean, it's relatively passive. It's not that it's not a lot of work, but it's very flexible. So I think that this kind of business lends itself to a lot of freedom. And when I talk to other bloggers and YouTubers or influencers, for lack of a better word, they all seem very happy with their lifestyle and with their work, and I think that's because they've kind of escaped the rat race, so to speak, and they have a lot of freedom and flexibility in their lives. So totally worth it if you're willing to grind it out for a few years.
So what was your background before this? You were in marketing, I think I overheard you say?
Yeah, I mean, I did a few things, but my most recent 9-to-5 career type job was in digital marketing.
Okay. Did you? I'm guessing that was a direct carryover effect. That was like allowing you to succeed in this. Like, how did that kind of connect the dots from your kind of desk job to what you're doing now? Like, what did that give you?
Yeah, there was definitely some overlap there, and I was building Modest Man while I was working there, so it was with like a really big nonprofit, and so they had a huge website. It's 20 million unique hits a month, and but interestingly, so I was focusing on SEO, so search engine optimization, and it was really interesting. You'd think that every big company with a big website really knows what they're doing, and SEO and those little specific fields inside of digital marketing are complicated and they're niche, and so I found that a lot of the stuff that I was learning as like an independent writer and blogger carried over to what we were doing, with their website, with this company's website, and vice versa. They were doing some stuff with email marketing and audience engagement analytics that I would take some of this and apply it to what I'm doing. So it was the same thing, just a lot bigger, so it was kind of cool working on a very small independent website and also helping with this very big, corporate operation and seeing all the similarities.
So Brock, for the people that don't know you, I mean, I always like kind of giving a plug at the end of these interviews to a content creator that I have on, maybe just say a little bit more about what you're kind of doing, what you're hoping to accomplish, and why they should check you out, both your website and your YouTube channel.
Yeah, man. Well, I think that I started this to help guys like me figure out how to dress better, and I think that sometimes it can seem superficial to outsiders. They say, well, why do you care so much about your appearance? I get comments like that. Why do you care so much about this stuff? And you're so vain or whatever. And I disagree. I think that improving your appearance is one small facet of the overall world of like self-improvement. And I think it's kind of low-hanging fruit in the sense that it's a lot easier to upgrade your appearance, your wardrobe, than to transform your body, for example. Fitness is also worthwhile, but dressing better is a little easier, and I think that once you do that, and once you get a little taste of how it feels to be more attractive to other people, you'll start to change the way you see yourself. And for me, it was really powerful, and I kind of want other guys to have that experience. And so I think, my overall goal is just to help guys feel more confident, and with that will come a whole slew of other things, more success professionally, romantically, and socially. So that's kind of my mission here.
I love it, man. That totally resonates with me. It's the reason why I do this as well. I think you might have different reasons and why it all stemmed out. For me, it was in high school. I mean, I was always battling my weight. I lost 75 pounds. And through that transformation, I thought that I was going to get something from it. But I was doing that. It was really weird for other people's acceptance. And after that process, you lose all that weight. You realize, wait, people are not really treating me. I mean, they're treating me differently, but it's not giving me the fulfillment aspect that I wanted. And I remember just going through this process in my life. I always was all about self-expression, and one of the elements of my own self-expression was fashion. And it didn't really click with me until later on. But through that process, I realized that I was able to get fulfillment within myself, not really thinking about anybody else, just by wearing clothes and feeling more confident. And it was nothing more than just being able to put something on and just feel better in my skin, not looking for anybody else's approval. So that's cool, man. Was there an event like that for you, where you were growing up, or there was just something whatever it is that kind of stemmed you to kind of help other guys out with this?
I mean, I think being a smaller guy is a big part of it, because there's this kind of inherent bias toward the taller, stronger, bigger man. It's in us from tens of thousands of years ago. We can't get rid of it. Just like so many different things that have no basis in modern reality or modern society, but it's still there. And so I think it matters more as you get older, because when I was a kid in elementary school, middle school, was like a pretty good athlete. Like I played music. Like I was, I'd say I had high status as a kid, you know. And then I got into high school, and I went to a very competitive high school, and I went from kind of big fish in a small pond to dead average, you know, in this new community, and that was kind of a wake up call. And so I'd say for a while, starting in high school, my self-image, self-esteem took a nosedive, you know, and it wasn't until after college, even after working for a few years, you know, in the professional world, that I started to rebuild that. And for me, you know, improving my appearance was one way that I was doing that. Another way was, you know, getting in shape. I started doing martial arts, you know, and that helped kind of develop in another way, you know, give me a lot of confidence in a different area of life. But I think it all comes down to the same thing. It's, you know, a lot of, especially shorter guys, you know, they feel kind of down on themselves, and they feel very hopeless about their chances with women or their chances professionally. And the advice you often see, especially on the internet, is to be more confident. People say, you know, women don't care about your height, they just care about confidence, so be more confident. And it's terrible advice, because, you know, confidence isn't something you can just will out of nowhere. It's a result. It's a byproduct. And so you have to give yourself a reason to feel confident. And I think that, you know, improving your appearance is one great way to do that. I think that, you know, fitness is a great way to do that. Improving your social skills, you know, learning martial arts or learning some other skill is a great way to do that. So that was kind of my journey, and I'm still on it, you know.
Of course, we all are. Well, Brock, this was a lot of fun. Everybody else, go check out The Modest Man, his YouTube channel. Go check out his website. Brock's an awesome guy, as you can clearly tell, and he's got some great content you guys need to check out. So, Brock, thank you so much for joining us for this interview today. We got to do it again another time.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. It was an honor.
So, guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you did enjoy it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe. Also, hit that bell icon so you know when I release content. In addition to that, if you have anybody that you would want me to interview in the future, leave comments down below. I'm always trying to look for new guests to have on the channel, and I'd love for you guys to be able to provide me feedback on who I should have next. But guys, until next time, be well, and I will see you all very soon.